Mancinelli. And the title of hers is Always Take the Truck. Welcome, Laura Mancinelli.
Thank you, Mr. Contest Master, fellow Toastmasters, and honored guests. As most of you know, I'm a professional auctioneer, and so you may be wondering, what does an auctioneer do with their free time? Well, we go to other auctions, of course. Well, a few weeks ago, there was a big auction company that normally does not do what we call on-site auctions or liquidation auctions, but they were doing an auction in St. Pete of a health food store. So naturally, I had to go. So I told my husband, on Thursday, I'm going to this auction in St. Pete. I asked him if he wanted to come. He said no. I told him that was fine. He didn't have to come. I was going. So Wednesday night comes, and he says to me, are you still going to that auction tomorrow? I said, oh, definitely I'm going. I said, do you want to come? He said, yeah, I think I'll go with you. I said, okay. He said, do you think we should take, I have a Honda, he has a big truck, a Ford something truck, or Dodge something truck. Do you think we should take the truck? I said, no. It's a health food store. Now this is what always happens. As an auctioneer, when you go to other auctions, you always end up buying stuff you don't need. So I said, what am I going to buy? A couple bottles of vitamins? We don't need a big truck for that. We're just going to go and take the car. Okay, so we take the car. So we drive up to St. Pete. We go to the auction. I was looking at how they registered people. Now, this was a huge health food store. And they had all the vitamins and food in the front, and they also had a restaurant in the back, and they were liquidating the restaurant equipment, the refrigerators, all the big stuff in the back. So they were going to do it in 2 rings and have 2 auctions going at the same time. So Pete, my husband, said to me, which auction do you? I said, I want to go to the little one in the front because I want to see how they sell the little stuff. Okay. So it turns out they sell it by the shelf. So the shelf is about as long as all of these tables. So they're going to sell the first shelf of vitamins. So naturally, I'm an auctioneer, I'm at an auction, I have to bid. So, $20, $25, now $30, we got $35. $40. Now my husband finds me and grabs my hand and will not let me bid. What are you going to do with 40 bottles of black cohosh? I don't know. I don't even know what that is. I'm sure I'll find something to do with it. Christmas presents, maybe. He's like, no bidding. You cannot have those. All right. So I'm just watching. So the way they sold it was if there was 5 shelves, you're the high bidder on this shelf, you take as many as you want, and then the next bidder had to take all the rest. Okay? So all the vitamins, those went. Then we get to the food. So I saw the food, and I wanted to bid on some of the food. He's like, no, we don't have room for it. We don't need all this food. Well, the next aisle, we come around the corner, was, as you may have seen, water. Now I said to him, look, we're going to drink water anyway. I'm bidding on that water. Now, again, they're selling it by the shelf. So he said, all right, but please, don't go crazy. I said, no, I won't, honey, no worries. Now, I'm looking on the shelf, and I see that this bottle of lemongrass mint vanilla water is selling for $6.95 a bottle. This bottle of sparkling Voss water, $4.95 a bottle. 25, now 30, would you go 35? Yep, I'm 35. Sold. How many do you want, miss? Well, I'll take that shelf up top, because that had all of Voss. But then the next shelf had about 200 of these at $2.95. So for $35, I could get 200 of these. I'll take that second shelf, too. Now I look in the back, and I see my husband like this, with his head in his hand, shaking his head. The gentleman next to me said, you might as well take that third shelf because that Perrier water sells for about $30 for a little 4-bottle thing of that. You might as well take that as well. I said, all right, I take 30. So the little lady over there takes 30. Sold. So now I'm on to the next aisle. So my husband says, well, how are we going to get all this stuff home? I said, well, I don't know. That's your job. So I see him come with the shopping cart, and he's loading the cart up very delicately with the glass bottles on the bottom and filling it up. Now, I forgot to mention it is 94 degrees this day and humid, of course. We live in Florida. And he's loading it up. When we got there, there was no parking in the parking lot. We couldn't park down the street, so we are parked down the street and around the block. So I see him going with the shopping cart down the street and around the block once. Well, there was about 400 bottles of water, so it took him about 5 trips. He comes in, he's dripping sweat, not happy with me. And I said, honey, what's the problem? He's like, do you know how much this bottle of water weighs? I'm like, this bottle, I said, 16 ounces? I don't know, a couple ounces. He's like, times 400, this is like 4 pounds. Times 400, it's like 1,200 pounds. We didn't take the truck, remember? We took the car. It's not going to all fit in the car. I'm like, it's water. I can hold it on my lap. He shook his head and said, it weighs the same thing. So I said, well, listen, the pasta aisle is coming up next. I'm bidding on that pasta. And he's like, we are not bidding on that pasta. Grabbed me by the arm, pulled me out of there. The best part was we got home. Now, fortunately, again, I'm an auctioneer. I have a garage full of stuff. I had bought shelving the week before an auction. I said, where are we going to put all this? I said, put the shelving together. We'll put whatever doesn't fit in the fridge on the shelf. Well, that's what we did. What I had by the time we got home, and I had drank some water, I really had to go to the bathroom. So I said, I'm going to run in. I'll put a couple bottles upstairs. You put the rest of the stuff in the garage, put the shelves together. He started putting the shelves together. I came out, it was probably about 20 minutes later after I got a phone call and checked my emails and put some water away. He was dripping sweat, and he just looked at me and said, next time you say we're going to an auction, I don't care what it is, we will always take the truck.